Dear friends, a warm welcome to all of you. Here we have one more fascinating lecture from Genetics for Explanation. Yes, my dear friends, a very important topic to discuss here is pleotropy. We can say pleiotropic genes. Now we have different types of genes which show pleiotropic effect. We can explain different types of examples here. Now let us start. According to Mendelian concept of classical genetics, it states one gene controls one character in an organism. Now this is known as one gene, one character hypothesis. We have one more important case here. Sometimes many genes are involved. We can say many genes can control one character in an organism. Now this is very important case. When many genes are involved to control one character, this phenomenon is known as polygenic inheritance. As the word indicates, polygenes means many genes are involved. Now coming back to our main topic, pleotropy. What is the meaning of pleiotropic gene? Here the pleotropy states, when one gene can control, we can write here many characters, or we can say many phenotypes or many traits. The phenomenon is known as pleotropy. So we can write here now, the pleotropy is opposite or converse of polygenic inheritance. Now let us consider one gene. For example, the gene controls three characters. Character number 1, we can say second character, and character number 3rd. So this is the pleiotropic gene. Now here when gene get expressed, one character get more effect or more influence. This is called a primary effect or major effect of gene. And rest of characters get very less effect from the gene. We call it secondary, minor or side effect of gene. Now we have different types of examples where gene shows pleiotropic effect, means one gene control many characters. Now let us write some good examples of pleotropy. For example, gene used in pea plant. Here the gene controls three important characters. Number 1 character is flower color in pea plant. This character gets more influence from the gene. We can say gene shows primary effect. Now rest of characters controlled by gene includes red spot in leaf axil. And one more character is seed coat color. They get less influence. We can say gene shows secondary effect in these characters. Now this is good example of pleotropy. Now coming to the second example, gene in gossypium, or we can say cotton plant. It also controls several characters. For example, number 1 character is lint size. What is lint size? Let me explain. This is the cotton seed. It has two types of fibers, small fuzz and large lint size fibers. Here the lint size gets primary effect from gene. The rest of characters controlled by gene is plant height and seed number. So this is also example of pleotropy. Now there is one more good example, gene in Drosophila. Here the gene acts as a pleiotropic gene because it controls many characters like wing size in Drosophila. We can write here nature of balancers in Drosophila, bristles on dorsal side in the Drosophila, accordingly nature of sex organs, and one more character is longevity, means lifespan. Here the wing size gets more effect. We can say primary effect of gene, or like this. Rest of characters get secondary effect of gene. So this is also pleiotropic case. Now jumping to the very important, we can say example of pleotropy, and this is very prominent disorder present in human beings known as Phenyle-Keto-Nuria, PKU. This Phenyle-Keto-Nuria is basically autosomal metabolic recessive disorder. Now what does it mean? Autosome indicates its gene is present on autosomal chromosome, and recessive means when the gene is present in homozygous recessive condition, then it is a pleiotropic gene or mutant gene. Normally gene involved is known as PAH gene. which stands for phenylalanine hydroxylase. The gene is present on chromosome number 12 in our body, means autosome. Normally, how PAH gene works? As we know that we have very essential amino acid in our body, namely phenylalanine. We take it through diet. Now it gets converted into, we call it a tyrosine amino acid with the help of enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase formed by PAH gene. Later on, tyrosine with the help of different reactions form very important pigment in our body called melanin. Now melanin is the pigment which gives color to our skin and hairs. This is the normal function of gene. Now when the PAH gene gets defective, when it is present in a recessive homozygous condition, or we can say it acts as a pleiotropic gene. What is its function then? Then the phenylalanine present in our body do not change into tyrosine, but it accumulates in our blood. Later on, this phenylalanine fuses with one more important compound, namely pyruvic acid, and form an integrated compound. Let me write it here. Namely phenylpyruvic acid. This phenylpyruvic acid has ketone group. It is also called ketonic bodies. When the concentration of phenylpyruvic acid increases in blood, it reaches up to excretory organ, we can say kidneys. Here the kidney do not reabsorb it, but excretes phenylpyruvic acid that has ketone bodies through urine. This is the reason the disease is known as Phenyle-Keto-Nuria. Dear friends, it was all about the basic and brief concept of PKU. Now how we can say this defective homozygous recessive gene is a pleiotropic, as it controls many characters and showing primary and secondary effect. For example, some portion of phenylpyruvic acid accumulates and reaches to the brain. Here it crosses blood-brain barrier and leads to mental retardation. It also leads to develop less IQ in organism. Now this is the primary effect of gene, and we can call these persons Phenyle-Keto-Nuria idiots. The gene also controls few more characters by showing secondary effect. For example, some portion of phenylpyruvic acid is released through sweat and the person has mousy smell. We can say rat-like smell. Very important character of PKU, we can say patient. Now it controls one more character. It leads to reduced pigmentation in skin and hair, because tyrosine do not lead to form melanin. It was all about Phenyle-Keto-Nuria disease, a case of pleotropy. Now concluding our topic, we have one more example for pleotropy. This is gene for Marfan syndrome. Yes, my dear friends, it is also autosomal recessive disorder, as we have already explained. Here the pleotropy gene involved is known as FBN1, which stands for fibrillin 1. The gene is present on autosome chromosome number 15 in our body. This FB1 gene controls some important characters. For example, number one character is it develops cylinder physique. We can call the cylinder physique as it has delicate and very weak body with long limbs. Here this character gets primary 1 degree effect from gene. Rest of characters controlled includes defective heart value, dislocation of eye lenses. They got 2 degree effect or secondary effect from gene. Dear friends, it was all about the pleiotropic brief and basic concept. If you find this video valuable, do share. Never forget to subscribe this channel. Thanks. Have a nice day.